So today I'm doing another chit-chatty video and going through a bunch of stuff again. I just threw everything from a bunch of the drawers I haven't gone through yet from my tower thing onto my bed, and we're gonna go through it and see what I want to give away to friends if they want it or do whatever with. So today we're going through stuff and we're kind of just chit-chatting. And I thought, so here in Canada, our school year ends in June, so people graduate at the end of June, and right now it's like the middle of May. So I want to talk a bit about like the last month of high school. I graduated last year, class of 2021, and it was horrible. So I kind of want to talk about like how like high school like definitely isn't how it is in the movies, but like, you know, people talk about like the end of high school being great and having like magical experiences and stuff, and I didn't have that, A, because of a global pandemic, but B, because of the town I was in and what I went through during high school. So while we sort through stuff, we're going to talk about that. So basically, my last year of high school was pretty horrible. That's empty. I had some traumatic experiences at my high school. I was essentially assaulted on campus during class, and you don't really recover from that, and the administration of the school was not good at helping me deal with it, and like it was very much, if I want something done, I had to do it myself, and and that sort of thing. So yeah, it was just really difficult and stuff. And so I was also kind of an outcast in some ways. Like, I did a lot of activities, and I mean, I played volleyball and track until I got diagnosed with my chronic pain stuff. And after that, I mean, I was in musical, I was in band, I was the leader of the GSA. I like did a whole bunch of stuff. I only really had like a core friend group of about 6 people, some of which were from like the music program and some of which weren't. And I don't know, I didn't have these big friend groups, and you know, there was a lot of infighting in my senior class about stuff surrounding COVID. So there was like senior kickoff, and it's a huge party where people get drunk in a field. And I never partied and I never did anything because my school had a scandal when I was in 8th grade. So the year before I went to this school, there was a huge scandal where the hockey team did drugs at a party and got suspended from the hockey league for a year. So they made us sign contracts basically saying we wouldn't do that type of thing. And I followed that very religiously. But there were some people, depending on their last name, who could still do whatever they want. And that's just a thing about being in a small town that happens. And it sucks, and it should not happen, but it does, and things should be done to change that, but because of the whole system that's there, there's nothing done about it. So I never did anything in high school. I would put in like 12-hour days at school though. I would go to jazz combo before school got started, and then I would stay. I would go do school. I would do stuff at lunchtime. I would go and I would be there till 8 p.m. doing track and then band, then track, then volleyball, like all of this stuff, and then I would walk home. And it was just, I put so much time and effort into that school, and I was recognized nationally with something for my work in the GSA. And it ended up falling through because of COVID, but that was later questioned by the administration during my senior year, because simply I basically did a fundraiser and the school could not do fundraisers because of COVID. However, this was through a third party and I was allowed to do whatever I wanted. And I said one of the donations would be going to the school library. And because people in my hometown didn't want to read and saw that the post was from me, I got a lot of hate, and I actually got in trouble at school for it. And the principal genuinely questioned if this thing that I was a part of was a real thing or if I was faking it, and accused me of stealing some fundraising money. And that was the beginning of the year in November. So you can see how my year went. And by May, my life was I was in a weird spot. I had been accepted and I committed to my university. I had a scholarship. I had amazing grades. I finished the year with like a 94%. I had 99s and 100s in most of my classes. I was successful. I was hugely successful. And my school would not acknowledge it. Not that they had to, but that they would actively be targeting me and like acting against me. And that's like just administration and stuff. I did, however, have a few amazing teachers who like I forever owe everything to. But it's so incredibly frustrating when you're putting in all this work and this institution is getting like recognized because you're being recognized and you're involved in this institution, and they don't care. They actively act like you're not a reason for this. Like I fought so hard against senior kickoff, and I literally like threatened to call the police on if it was held because it was violating COVID guidelines, and I was not going to let like the seniors at my high school, like I grew up in a small town, like we were the representatives of the town. Like everyone had their eyes on us. The younger students had their eyes on us and how we behaved and what we were going to allow. So in my speaking up, people saw me really as ruining their fun and like not wanting them to have a good time in senior year. And so much had been taken from us, which was not my fault, and it wasn't even admin's fault. There was a global pandemic, and there was nothing any of us could do about it. But by me saying, guys, we need to follow the rules here, like we are so close, because this was back when we thought vaccinations would fix everything and everyone would go get vaccinated and we might have a shot at anything like what the world was before COVID. But obviously we know now that that didn't work. And my town is very in the spirit of the people who don't want to make that work. And anyway, like I know they were mad about the situation. They were looking for someone to blame for why they couldn't be doing this stuff and for why they had to follow the rules like everyone else. And I was that person. They got to blame me. They got to be mad at me. And I just had to take it. Admin knew what was going on. The teachers knew what was going on. The parents of the other students knew what was going on. Yet everyone was just allowed to blame me and attack me for saying, hey guys, maybe we shouldn't break the law and go get drunk in a field. And, I was the buzzkill. And, my friends, of course, agreed with me because we had common sense, I guess. But everyone else was so mad and so attacking. So this eventually leads to spring. And things are going okay and stuff. And then May hits and we're doing senior choir and things like that. And we're getting ready for graduation. And I started having a really hard time with my mental health again. And the stuff from the assault was bugging me again. So that was frustrating. And in a time where I really need friends, I had one particular person. We weren't like friends. We were people who would talk to each other when we needed someone. And it was mutual. He would come to me and I would go to him and we would talk and we would understand what the other was saying. And he was in the class that I was assaulted in and stuff, and stuck by me pretty well during this whole thing. Not outwardly to the town or to the school, but supported me on a personal level. And basically, I had put in all that work to get valedictorian. It was always a dream to speak and represent my class. And then I didn't get it. And it felt like the world fell from around me. And I know that's dramatic. But when I gave up 4 years of my life. The assault happened in 10th grade at the beginning of second semester, so in the winter of 10th grade. So for 2.5 subsequent years, even though it was an institution that not only wasn't helping me, was actively making my life worse, I put in so much effort to just try to be allowed to represent my senior class at graduation. I didn't get salutatorian either, and the guy who got it said he didn't even want it just before they announced it, and then took it anyway, when me and my friend had talked about how we spent our entire high school careers working towards this one moment. And the girl who got it was actively anti-vax, actively anti-COVID guidelines, through a super spreader event that shut down our school and the entire health zone in our province for 3 weeks, canceled first semester exams, did not do half as much as I did for the school or the community at large. Nothing. But she got it because she was popular and she was okay with throwing the parties that were going against community COVID health measures and things like that. And that was so incredibly frustrating. So when the results came out, I messaged this friend I had that he was like my person. And I said, how could this have happened? And the response I got back basically was, well, everyone hates you, Emma. Like himself included. And I knew that. I knew I wasn't liked. I knew people thought I tried too hard. I knew people thought that I was self-centered. I knew people thought that I was stuck up because all I ever did was work towards getting the scholarship I did and being valedictorian. Every single day I stepped foot in that school, I was working towards getting higher grades. I was working towards being more involved. So what really bugged me was I did that for an institution that was actively making my life worse. And then the response I got from the people who I was supposed to have a community with was that they hated me. Like genuinely hated me. And then I started talking to some people who didn't hate me, like my friends and stuff. And they were honest about what they had been hearing about me for the past 4 years. Particularly this past year, like the senior year. And the one that really stuck with me was that people just wish I would shut up. The majority of what I talked about in school, and I did 3 projects on gay rights and LGBTQAI2+ rights. I did 1 project on rape culture. Like, when I spoke up for long periods of time, I talked on important issues. And I used what little platform I had to try to make our community better. And outside of that, I would make like lighthearted jokes and stuff, and I would play along, and of course that not demeaning any communities. Like I would try to be an approachable person so that when I was given these small platforms, when I was giving an hour-long free class to do a seminar in, I could take that and people would listen. And I was being told that my senior class wish I would have just shut up. And that they hated me because I didn't. They hated me because I wanted to protect our community from a pandemic. And what they did gave the girl who was actively spreading hate, who had said transphobic and homophobic things directly to my face. I was also one of the only out people at my school for about 2 years. My best friend now, but my girlfriend at the time. And people speculated about us for an entire year, and we were so terrified that she would be outed to her mother who worked at the school. And then they gave this girl who had lower marks than me, participated less, actively spewed misinformation, said actively homophobic, transphobic, and misogynistic things, who actively worsened the environment of our school and our community, a platform to speak at graduation that would have been televised over and over and over and over again because we had to do small ceremonies because of COVID, that people could watch her speech over and over and over again for 3 days straight. And then they said they hated me because I couldn't shut up. All while I had given my life, my entire teenage years, the last of my childhood, to an institution that had robbed it of me. So my last month of high school was dealing with that. My last month of high school was spent dealing with that and losing a person I held, and really this friend, this guy who was my person, who I held in very high regard and had so much respect for and so much empathy for, losing that and understanding that my feelings on people had been wrong. My last month of high school was dealing with that while trying to finish up, and I had a lighter course load, and I talked a lot with those teachers who did save me, one in particular. And at that point, I was grasping for anything that could resemble closure at any part of this god-awful experience I had had. I spent the last month of high school looking for any closure I possibly could, while actively trying to avoid every single person, but actively still trying to be in the school community because I needed my scholarship and I needed to graduate with honors and I needed to somehow save any resemblance of my high school experience. And this culminated in a meeting with the vice principal and principal, the vice principal who had been the gym teacher at the time that I was assaulted in gym class by another student. And it was a lot of, I don't think you're remembering that right. I don't think I ever said that. Why would I say that, Emma? And so gaslighting. Because who would have mishandling a sexual assault that occurred in his class in front of his boss? And so by the time we got to the end of that meeting, I had done a project on rape culture, and one of the parts of this project was I did a survey that about 20 students replied to it about their experience at my high school and in our town and how they had been sexualized and assaulted and raped. And there was a number of assaults that had occurred on campus. So I left them with the results. I don't think they ever looked at them because I don't know how massive change could have been avoided had they. And so that meeting ended with the principal looking me in the eye and saying, throughout the meeting, he said, I'm sorry you felt unsafe at this high school. And he finished the meeting by looking me in the eye and saying, you will go on to be a great representative of this school. I gave up years of my life to this institution, to these people who did not care and actively despised me, to be told that they could use me as a success story. And that may have been more hurtful than all of the other stuff I actually went through while I was in my years of high school. Because they didn't care. They didn't provide a safe environment. They didn't do the very basis of their jobs, which was to provide a safe environment to learn. And it didn't matter because I wasn't what my town wanted. I didn't have the right last name. I wasn't born there. My family didn't go to church. We didn't own one of the businesses. We didn't have permanent roots. Our family hadn't been there for generations. We didn't hold the same beliefs or the same morals as the town did. So why would anyone care if this left-leaning, queer, feminist girl was assaulted in a gym class? They do, however, care that every accomplishment I can do that is not within this identity, that can be separated from my personal identity, and I can just be a name and then an accomplishment, they care about that. They get to say, look what our graduates have done. No, I will not let it happen. I did amazing things this year, my first year of university. I performed so much higher than was even required of me. And I did that. That school did not make me do that. I did that. So I'm gonna say, that school does not get to claim me. That school does not get to say, oh, that girl, this story about this girl succeeding, being a success, she came from our school, will not be allowed. They are not allowed to claim me. They can, however, say, this girl had a horrible experience in this school, in this town, and went on to write a book about it. And then went on to prove everyone who doubted her, everyone who looked her in the eye, told her to shut up. Wrong. She went on to be a success story. Not because of, but in spite of. So, that's how my high school ended. And that conversation with the principal and vice principal was on the very last day of my group, because we were split into two groups because of COVID, my group going to school. And then the next day we had like this traditional thing we all do where we all dance in a circle. And me and my best friend stood there and posted on Snapchat about how much we hated it there. We did not dance. We left as soon as we could. Because why? Why would we? And I want to show a photo that I have framed. So this is a photo. I'm covering my best friend's face because I don't know if she wants to be in this video. But this is a photo of me on the day of my graduation. Sorry, I'm shaking. And I'm crying. And I had just looked at my best friend and I said, I didn't know we would still be here to get to this point. And in this moment, I had also realized that I finally got to leave. I was done. I never needed to come back. I was done. And that was both a freeing moment and one that wasn't at all, because I realized that this place, that institution, was still going to hold power over me for the rest of my life, even though I didn't want it to. And it's not one of those things that is like, oh, well, it only holds power because you let it. No, it holds power because so many traumatic things happened to me in these walls of this school. So, my point about me crying and telling my story, which I think I'm going to post this to Facebook now, because I think I'm finally ready to tell my story about what happened to me at this high school. My point is, anyone who's graduating this year, your high school story may not be beautiful. It may be okay at best. And it may be traumatizing. And it may hurt. It may hurt you so bad. And even if you thought maybe there was some semblance and things fall apart in your last month of school, or it was never together for you, that is valid and that is a normal thing. Like other people, I have experienced that. I have experienced unhappy ending. I have experienced that unhappy ending. And I'm so sorry if you do not get a happy ending, because I know how much it hurts. I know. But I'm not gonna be like, but it's a new beginning. Because some people will never leave the town their high school is in. Some people will never, even if they physically do, they mentally won't. I'm not going to tell you that this is a chance for new beginnings, that this is a chance for healing. You may find that, or you may go to university and it's the same. And I can't tell anyone that it gets better from there. I can't say you have two options and you can let it define you, or you can do everything you do in spite of it. Because honestly, I don't think my approach to spiting an entire town, even if it's wildly successful in my case, is healthy. I don't think it is. And I am on a continuing healing journey, and recently that journey has been set back. But not all high school graduates, not all university graduates get happy endings to their stories. Some of their stories were never happy. And that's okay. And it's not abnormal. Other people, as I said, I went through that. What I can say is that it is over. Even if you don't physically leave your town, even if you mentally cannot move past what has occurred, it has occurred. It's done. You do not need to walk into those walls ever again. You do not need to see those people ever again. You can cut and block everyone from your senior class. Lord knows I did. I'm not going to say it's automatically a new beginning, but you have the potential to make it one. And I'm not going to say reinvent yourself, because you shouldn't have to. It's the people who told me and hated me and told me to shut up while only valuing me for my accomplishments who need to change. They are the issue. I am not the issue for using my platform to spread good. Whatever size that platform may be, even if it's only 20 kids in a class. So to those graduating, to the class of 2022, your high school experience has been as wild as mine was. And you had less normality than I did. And I want you to know that if you don't feel good about your high school experience, if you feel traumatized by that, that is okay. You are not being over dramatic. You are not making stuff up. Do not gaslight yourself about it, because I did. I thought, oh my God, this is my fault that I didn't enjoy any of my time here and I messed up. I did not. I did not mess up. You did not mess up. So if you are graduating this year or next year, or, whenever you do, it may not be what everyone promises it is. You may not spend the last month hanging out with a bunch of friends. You may have a horrible summer job after, like I did. You may not figure yourself out at all during high school, or once you think you do, you realize it was all wrong and it was all based on the town you were in and everything kind of sucked. It's okay. Whatever you are feeling, and if you are happy and if you loved high school and if you were afraid, don't be afraid. You're going off to do great things. You will be fine. Whatever you are feeling right now, at the end of a chapter, You're allowed to feel it, and don't let anyone tell you you're not. You're allowed to feel what you feel right now, and feeling what you feel right now is valid. You do not have to be happy right now. You can be sad you're leaving, and you can be ecstatic you're leaving, and you can be sad that so many things happened to you in a 4-year time span. Do not let anyone devalue your experience. And surely, if they only value you for your accomplishments, know that you get to say, absolutely not. You get to go on and say, I am accomplished. I am successful because of me. I am a success in despite of my high school and my hometown. I find my own success, and that success may not lead you to happiness. You may not feel amazing about your success. There might still be that part of you that's gnawing at the what if they take this from me, because I mean, posting this video, I'm going to be terrified. But you get to decide who gets to own your success. You get to decide who gets to own your high school experience. You get to decide. So if you're graduating this year, congratulations. I know it hasn't been easy, but please remember that you get to own your own experience, and you get to decide how you talk. Have a great day.